This video has been sat waiting for me to edit for ages. I've just sort of left it because I've had other things to do. This plushie's been done for months now, but I'm here, I am ready to teach you guys how to make Koro Sensei. So, like with most of my plushies, they start off exactly the same way. Once you have the patterns, all you need to do is pin them down onto your fabric and cut them out with how many I instructed on the patterns. I put how many you need of each and the colour of the fabric. If you want to save time when cutting out, fold your fabric over. You've got 16 pieces of the tentacles and it takes forever if you're going to cut them out one by one. So fold over your fabric and see how many you can cut out at once. Okay, so you can see I have all the pieces laid out here, so just sew along the lines where I'm showing you in the video. So once you have sewn everything on the machine, you just need to turn it inside out, and using a chopstick will really help with the little tentacle arms, the fingers. Okay, so this proves how long ago I did this plushie. Here I'm showing you how I inserted wire into the hands, which I already have a video on, so I'm not going to go back and explain it. I've already explained it in another video, so please go and check out that if you're interested in that method. It's really fun to add wire, but obviously you don't have to, it's not necessary. But once you have, just go ahead and stuff the arms and all of the other pieces that you have. Sort of the bottom of the body bit for Koro Sensei, it's like a flat piece that you just need to place over the top of your stuffing and pin the light edges together, and then you will need to ladder stitch that down onto the base. I do have a video now for the ladder stitch. You now need to start pinning down the tentacles on the bottom. Pin these down as evenly as you can. You need to use the ladder stitch again. So there's a lot of pinning and ladder stitching for this first section of the video. Pin the arms and ladder stitch those down. So here we have the head. As you can see, I've drawn on a little cheesy Koro Sensei face. I'm just going for the normal Koro Sensei face. I'm cutting out a mouth shape out of white felt. So because I drew the pattern on the back, I just put 2 pins as to where the 2 points of the mouth were, and then I can place the mouth down on top of the top side. I bring out my embroidery hoop and I put my Koro Sensei head in there. If you want your life to be much easier, don't cut out the pattern, just draw the pattern on your fabric and then draw the details on your fabric. When I made this video, I didn't know this was a thing. Embroidery Stablizer, which you iron on to the back of your fabric and then you use it with embroidery, and then once you finish embroidering you just rip it off at the back. If you don't want to do embroidery, you can just use iron on transfer. Switch your sewing machine to the zigzag stitch and also change the length to like really small, really close together, so then it's more compact. You need an embroidery foot. Basically what you just need to do is you just need to zigzag along the lines that you want, whether you've got a piece of fabric already down or whether you've just got a line drawn. Gently go back and forth to make sure that the lines are even, make sure there's no gaps. The eyes I did do by hand because it was easier than using the machine. So now you have your little Koro Sensei face. You just need to pin the two sort of circle pieces for the heads flat down against each other and sew along around in a circle. Leave a little gap, then turn that inside out and stuff it. Okay, so now you have the Koro Sensei base and you need to give him some clothes. So I suppose this is not really a very professional way of doing clothing, but I cut out a shape that goes over Koro Sensei's body. Okay, so here are all the pieces. You need 4 sleeve pieces and you need the back piece, and then you need the 2 front pieces for where the shirt will do up. So they're a little bit cronky, but when you sew them together they will be neater. So what you need to do is then pin the diagonal sides of the shirt where they attach onto the base bit of the shirt. You need to pin them all to their sides on the front pieces and the back pieces. And once you've attached all of the sleeves to their base pieces, just sew them on the machine. The right sides up the way you want them to face, put them down together and then sew the edges for those. How big his shoulders are, I chose to not sew the top side because it will make it a nightmare to try and actually dress it onto him. So just start pinning from the body and the undersides and then pinning the top seams to his shoulders just to keep it there, and you will then ladder stitch up those top seams. Doesn't need to be the neatest thing ever because he's going to have like a black cloak thing going over it. Okay, so next pick out some buttons for him, white ones or clear ones. Koro Sensei also has a collar. What you need is some thick white felt. It's 3mm to 4mm and I get this on eBay. I love this felt. What I do is I cut out a strip that's long enough to go all the way around Koro Sensei's neck and to match the shirt. So once you've cut out the strip, you can just pin it down. Ladder stitch the collar down to the top of the shirt. Get some needle and thread, tie a knot in the bottom of it, and then just sew on the buttons. Once you've sewn on all the buttons, just do up your shirt again and use your pins to sort of poke it through where the buttons were. Feel where the buttons are underneath your fabric and draw a little line with a pencil as to where you need to cut for the buttonholes on the other piece. And there we are, Koro Sensei has a lovely shirt now. So now you need to move on to the black coat thing. And this is the same method that I used for the shirt. It doesn't do up, so I'm just cutting like 2 side pieces like I did for the shirt. They just don't match up in the middle. And then I'll also cut a back piece, and I will cut the sleeves the same way that I did for the shirt. So just make sure that these are even bigger, because you've got the shirt underneath as well as the base, so these need to be extra big. Before you sew all of the pieces together, make sure that you fold up or fold in the edges of the sleeves so that they go onto the inside of the clothing, and sew along those lines. It just makes it look much neater. And also do this with the bottom. You don't want any raw edges on the surface of your plush. And once you have all your pieces cut out again, it's the same thing. So the sleeves onto the base bits of the clothing, and then right sides together, sew the edges. I just pin those pieces to the sides of that jacket, and just to give it the illusion of that's what's underneath the jacket. Put the black pieces, which are the raised binding areas of this cloak jacket thing, and also pin that down on top of the red pieces, so we'll sew them both down on the machine at the same time. Hook and eye connectors, or loops, or whatever you want to call them, they are basically useful for connecting parts of clothing. They have 2 little holes on both pieces that you just sew on like you would a button. So now what you need to do is the little, I'm going to call it a poncho because I don't know what else to call it. I know it's like some sort of graduation outfit. Cut out a long black strip for that, that wraps around his body. And the way I do this to make it fit him is I just wrap it around and pin him, and I cut it in areas to shape his body. I've just angled it so that it fits him. It's effectively just a really long curved strip. Fold the ends of these and sew them to make sure that they have a soft edge like we did with the cloak. I'm attaching this also with a button. I put the button on the inside though this time. Okay, next you'll notice that the binding of the poncho is like a goldy yellow colour. Measure the sort of the length of that bottom strip and then use that measurement to cut out the same length. Pin that down to the edge of the black poncho bit and either sew along that line or you can hot glue it down. So now you just need to wrap the poncho bit around Koro Sensei's shoulders and button it up. Okay, so he has a little graduation cap on. So what I do for this is I cut out a black strip. It's quite small, it's not a very long strip, and the width is how tall you want it. And once you've got this, I then use the same measurements and I cut out a piece of cardboard and I then fold this around and this will go inside the hat. So now get another piece of flat cardboard, just get a square piece and sort of rest it on the top of the hat. Once you've got the size of it, you just place it on some black fabric and cut out a square, but make sure the square is a few centimeters wider than your cardboard square. Then all you need to do is sew 3 sides of the square on the sewing machine and turn it inside out, slot your cardboard piece in that one side you left open and use the ladder stitch to close up that side. So now you need your glue gun. All you need to do is put hot glue on the cardboard pieces and the tops of that bit of hat that you've already sewn down to Koro Sensei's head, and then carefully place that flat bit on top of the hat and make sure it's nice and secure, there's no gaps in anything. The last few stages now is the tie. So I'm using some suede up fabric because it's thin, so you're going to be cutting a tie like a normal tie, so you need to fold it, in which case you need a thinner fabric. Cut out a tie shape. Basically make it a long enough strip so that it can wrap around Koro Sensei's neck, and then you can also tie the tie. Okay, so the final things to do then is I've got some felt, and you just need to cut out the shapes that are now last needed for the details of Koro Sensei's clothing. So the moon, or well, it's a backwards moon on his tie, and the strips that are on his sleeves, the purple strips, you just need to cut those out of felt and hot glue them down. Circular felt strip, and I've got these tassels, so I bought these on eBay. Just put the string, the end string of the tassel, and use hot glue on the little circle piece and glue that straight down to the hat. So I hope you guys found this video interesting. It's taken me a very long time, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was somewhat helpful. I'm sorry if my explaining isn't the best at times, but I hope you can see what I was doing anyway. So thank you very much for watching, and I see you guys in the next video.